It was not an act of a court. It was not an illegal order. It was self-government at its best, responding to an immoral, unethical, illegal action by an unelected few. It is my honor and privilege to introduce Judge Roy Moore.
Thank you very much. God bless you. And I want to thank Danny Carroll for that wonderful introduction. And tell you right off, I'm a judge. I'm not a preacher. I don't have the eloquence of Pastor Ratliff here than the last time. When I came last summer and saw the beautiful farms on the rich soil and the waving green stalks of corn in the summer breeze, I just thought that there could be no finer place than Iowa. And I visited a lot of the communities and saw the historic buildings. But you know what I like most about Iowa, what I admire most about Iowa, it's the people. It's the people of your state who are honest, hardworking, who are strong-willed, and a little bit opinionated. Even the ladies. I recall a story of an Iowa farmer that stood years ago at the cadet prayer. Your men and women endowed of courage, born to all that is noble and worthy, that scorns compromise with vice and injustice and knows no fear when truth and right are in jeopardy.
It's okay.
I believe that's the people of Iowa. Simply put, you're not afraid to say what you mean and mean what you say. Let you vote. It's no accident that Iowans have long had a pivotal voice in American politics. In urging you today to adopt a marriage amendment, I call upon you once again to take a stand for truth and virtue, not just here in Iowa, but in our country as well. For America looks to you for leadership in this critical season, because what happens in Iowa affects the rest of the nation. It's not like Vegas. You've heard about Vegas, what's happening in Japan and across the nation. But right here, we've got a moral meltdown. In 1776, Thomas Paine, in his pamphlet called The Crisis, said these are the times that try men's souls. And certainly in America today, we live in trying times, as some in our country seek to destroy that virtue and morality which we have long held dear. George Washington, in his farewell address, said that virtue or morality is the necessary spring of popular government. Who that is a sincere friend to it can look with indifference on attempts to shake the foundation of the fabric? Today, that foundation is being shaken by radical judges, liberal politicians, some in the highest office of our land, who would redefine marriage, and in doing so would destroy the family as we know it. It was once said and written that no legislation can be supposed more wholesome and necessary in the founding of a free, self-governing commonwealth than that which seeks to establish it on the basis of the family, springing from the union for life of one man and one woman in the holy state of matrimony. That may sound like religion, but in fact it's taken from an opinion of the United States Supreme Court, Murphy versus Ramsey, in 1885. And what they were saying is so basic that it's embarrassing to have to repeat it. Marriage is between one man and one woman. It's the foundation of our country. Note their use of the word holy. Even earlier in Reynolds versus United States in 1878, marriage was called a sacred obligation. Upon marriage, society may be said to be built. Out of its fruits spring social relations and social obligations. Petition 8 was set aside by a federal court, and that order was appealed. It left Iowa with the unique distinction of being the only state outside of New England to sanction same-sex marriage. Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Vermont are the other 4 states. I'm proud to say that the people of Iowa stood up to the justices on the Supreme Court and voted them out of office. And I can tell you it was the right thing to do. When justices choose to disregard the will of the people and the law they're sworn to uphold and allow their own feelings and sentiments to sway their opinion, they no longer deserve to be called judges. Consequences of such a decision. He said, when a strict interpretation of the Constitution, and listen to these words in light of what happened in your case of Farnham. When a strict interpretation of the Constitution is abandoned, and the theoretical opinions of individuals are allowed to control its meaning, we have no longer a Constitution. We're under a government of individual men, and now women, who for the time being have the power to declare what the Constitution is according to their own views of what they think it ought to mean. You see, if judicial review means anything, it means that courts and judges must uphold the intent and purpose of the law, not try to make a new one. Your Constitution, like that of the Constitution of every other state and even the federal Constitution, provides that the making of laws rests with the legislature. In Article 3 of your Constitution provides that no one branch can intrude into the powers of another. When the Iowa Supreme Court created a new right to same-sex marriage by saying two men and two women are similarly situated, they not only ignored the law, they ignored existing precedent in the Iowa Supreme Court case law. In 1922, the Iowa Supreme Court said this: under our statute, marriage is a civil contract. The one man took this one woman to be his wife. Even the party who lost that case claimed that marriage was, quote, the union of one man and one woman to the exclusion of all others. When Iowa Supreme Court created a new right to same-sex marriage by saying two men or two women are similarly situated to one man and one woman and deserve equal protection of the law, they not only ignored their own precedent, but the laws of nature as well. And depend on him for a continuation of those blessings. You know, as I listened to the House and Senate open their sessions today, and I was very respectful and very delighted to meet many wonderful legislators in there. They open with prayer. They open with a pledge of allegiance under God. And then they come and say, some of them, that marriage can be between two men or two women. I'm telling you, one of the blessings of marriage, one of the blessings of God is the marriage relationship. And the Iowa Supreme Court in 1905 and 1854 recognized that fact as being sacred and of sacred obligations. That isn't religion. That's your law. It seems that earlier justices on the Supreme Court, like your fathers and your mothers, knew what some have forgotten today, that marriage is ordained of God. Did not our Lord say that he that made them from the beginning made them male and female? And therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. What God hath therefore joined together, let not man put asunder. I want to give you a few facts. Across the country, presently 40 out of 50 states have adopted either a constitutional marriage amendment or Defense of Marriage Act. In every state where a constitutional amendment has been proposed, it has passed, usually by an overwhelming majority. In no state have the people ever voted to adopt same-sex marriage. With a constitutional amendment in Iowa making marriage a sacred union of one man and one woman, you send a message not only to liberal judges in the state of Iowa, but to liberal politicians across the land. The will of the people will be heard. And let us not stop. Let us not stop there. With such huge support in our country, a federal marriage amendment would certainly become the next amendment to the United States Constitution, which would stop all judges, state and federal when reinterpreting our laws with regard to marriage. I pulled up a couple quotes from some of our forefathers about the power of the people. Thomas Jefferson said, "The Constitution of most of our states assert that all power to alter or reform the same whenever the public good may require it." And I submit the public good requires it. The time is now upon us, and now is, that we the people must ensure that we leave to our children what our fathers and mothers left to us, a sure foundation of virtue and morality upon which they too can prosper and be free. Yes, Thomas Paine said, "These are the times that try men's souls." The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman.
Reverend Gordon and Reverend Ratliff and Bob Vander, and from Judge Roy Moore. What I want you to take away from what these gentlemen have said is the reassurance and the confidence that what you believe is right, that you have heard the truth, and that your voice deserves to be heard. I encourage you to wage this fight, this effort, in love, compassion, with understanding. The Reverend Ratliff reminded us it's not about hate. We simply have a disagreement. In the United States of America, we settle our disagreements at the polls. We've been told, we continue to be told, that the Senate Majority Leader, Mike Gronstal, will not let the marriage amendment come up for debate. He will not even let it be discussed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's just fine, but Mike Gronstal is not in charge. With all due respect, Senator Gronstal, in this country, the people are in charge. Before I ask you to reflect on the words you've heard from Reverend Gordon, from Reverend Ratliff, from Bob, and from Judge Roy Moore, if you have a good reason for believing the way that you do, and you can leave it confident that what you believe is right and true. Now, before you leave, if you make your way into the Capitol, contact at least one senator and tell them, "Let us vote. Let 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 us vote."